Yo, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out over a year ago. Since then, I've been covering my playthrough of this game in the previous 4 parts of the series. Before we're able to jump in, let's recap on the journey thus far. We previously took on the champion, contributed to the downfall of Team Star, saved Darwin's dog, and stopped the professors at the bottom of Area 0. In the first part of the DLC, we meet Kieran and Kieran, who are Blueberry Academy students, and we become friends with them. Over the course of the DLC, Kieran would battle us, and of course, every time we won. There was also an ogre named Ogrepon that we eventually caught. We also met a teacher of the academy, Brer, who has a fascination with Area 0. Today we'll be playing through part 2 of the DLC, the Indigo Disc. We meet the Blueberry Academy principal, Cryano, to find that we were recommended by Kieran to come visit the school as an exchange student. We then fly to Blueberry Academy in the Unova region. We meet Lassie, who seems to be the second in command. She also wants to battle us as well. Now, I didn't really touch on this in the previous video, but the teal mask was insanely easy. So when I went to battle her, I was thrown through a loop to find that she was actually difficult. And another gimmick of Blueberry Academy is double battles, which that's pretty cool. But yeah, after that battle, I think it's time to really think over my team. We move into the Terrarium, not my fault, they tried to make it a pun, where it's revealed that Blueberry Academy has managed to take some terrestrial energy and use it to manage their school. To sum it up, that basically means Pokemon can terrestrialize here. Oh yeah! And if for some ungodly reason you don't know what terrestrializing is, here is a definition on screen! After class, we get a call from Kieran to meet up in the center of the Terrarium. We catch up and she decides to battle me, which is the worst mistake anyone can make in this universe. We reflect on the battle before Kieran. He's changed. And not for the better. We, however, are not spotted by him. But someone else does come into play. Drayton, the old champion of the BB League. The current one is Kieran, and because of this, there's a lot of drama happening between everyone. And then, for some reason, we get the catching charm? I don't really need that. We go to my dorm room, and Kieran talks about her excessive hatred towards Drayton, and Kieran's quote-unquote phase. We head to the cafeteria to meet Drayton to talk about joining the club. However, we are interrupted by the Elite Four and champion of the club, as they need to talk. But now, we're finally able to talk with Kieran. Everyone's mixed about allowing me to join the club because I'm an exchange student. Ultimately, Kieran decided to let me participate. We head up to the front desk to sign up. But anyways, we are tasked with beating the members of the Elite Four. We start with the Fire-type member of the Elite Four, Crispin. She tells us for a trial that we need to make a spicy sandwich, but we can't use our own ingredients and we must trade for others. Was there any doubt? He also mentions the history between Kieran and I, and how he wishes that everything would just go back to normal. Anyway, because of how shaken up I was because of that other battle, I decided I needed to come into these battles with a strategy. I decided to use a Flygon that I caught to use Earthquake with Dragonite out front. This means it'll only damage his team. However, the beginning of the battle was all over the place because all of his Pokemon that had Levitate were out. But we cleaned it up by the end. Jesus Christ. Drayton also keeps stalking us, which we really need to talk more about. Next member I challenged was the Fairy-type user, Lassie, who actually gave us the school tour. The trial was a Pokemon quiz. Yay! I really hate taking quizzes. She also gives us an apology for the way that she rejected us joining the league. Now for the battle. It was by far the most annoying battle for all the wrong reasons. From what I gathered, Lassie seems to be a very strategy-focused trainer. I was going to use my Dragapult's Poison Terror type with Terra Blast, but he fell way too early in the battle. This basically meant I was winging it for the majority of the battle, and that is something that you don't want to have happen. This Slowbro also caused me so many issues, and the Alcremie was especially annoying with its spamming Recover. However, I was able to barely pull through. Please make it stop. Just as we're leaving, Kieran showed up. He starts bullshitting us, saying that he was worried I'd fail. Yeah, this is definitely the face of a sane person. Next is the Steel-type member, Arieis, who is genuinely the most boring person I think ever in Pokemon. Anyway, we gain the ability of Flight and have to make our way through the Magnemite rings to add time. My dumbass couldn't find the goal for some reason, so I had to redo it several times. She also then asks about Kieran and how she apparently wants to be the one to fix him. My plan for battle is to use Doug's fighting type as my advantage, as Steel is weak to fighting. Overall, I do think that this was the easiest battle to win. She also finally sees that she isn't him. Well, I guess her, but... I'm not even joking, there's nothing I can say about this person. Then again, Drayton comes to bother us as usual, and holy shit, he's weird, let's move on. But we can't, as we have to take him on for the final Elite Four member. Now, his trial was by far the most annoying, as we had to participate in terrarium-only battles. This basically means you can only use Pokemon caught in the terrarium. Now, I don't really focus on the Pokemon I caught for these videos because it's not why you're here. That's why I've also been neglecting to catch many Pokemon here. Anyway, the first trainer was pretty easy, but to beat the second one, I had to go out and catch a Pyroar. And the third one, yeah, it was over so quickly. Now for Drayton. I was pretty prepared with some Dragon-type moves. However, I wasn't aware that he'd be spamming pseudo-legendaries. Legitimately, this battle was only difficult because half of his team are pseudos, and the other half are designed to be the worst Pokemon to fight alongside pseudos. I was basically heal stalling and constantly reviving my Pokemon so I could beat them. But then, it happened. I finally beat Drayton. Ah! However, Kieran showed up. He was talking so much shit about how it took me a while to beat the Elite Four. You a bitch for that. But now, we must challenge Kieran to a battle. Drayton comes out and gives his very unwanted take while we wait to apply for the battle. He also tells us about Kieran's absolute obsessive desire to beat me, which has been running him and the club into the ground. The two of us are standing, waiting for the final battle. Kieran's final chance. He leads with the Dragonite and Politoed. I quickly take out Dragonite and switch into Flygon. But in all seriousness, Kieran's Pokemon were falling like flies. And just before I knew it, Hydrapple, Kieran's ace, came out. Just like before, Kieran was backed into a corner and used everything he had. But ultimately, it wasn't enough. He lost. Drayton felt that he had to rub it into Kieran that he lost. He also congratulated us for a win, as well as giving good advice to Kieran. We finally had to step in. The club is in chaos now, however, because an exchange student won. However, we can't worry about that right now, as Kieran, Karamine, Drayton, and I were all called to Brer's office. The announcement specified that it'd be Brer and guests. We all meet up at her classroom where she tells us that the guests are touring the school. She also congratulates us for a win, which of course pisses Kieran off. But then she reveals the true purpose of us being here. She finally got permission to go down into Area 0, and she wants to find Terapagos, said to be the cause of all terastallizing. The guests also finally make their way back. It just so happens to be Gita and Rika from the Pokemon League in Paldea. We also get some more backstory on Area 0, which basically summed up means people were allowed in there around a decade ago for research purposes. However, a Pokemon that is extremely dangerous has the very real chance of escaping. Therefore, more research needs to be conducted, and fast. They need our help as we seem the most capable and have the most time. Karamine and I agree to go, but Drayton stays behind because of all the chaos at the club at the moment. Before we're able to leave, we have to talk to Gita. Then, it all goes to shit. Finally confronted about the things that went down in Area 0 that we were a part of. It's also crazy to believe that all went down over a year ago. Gita seems to be on our side, but warns us that very few know about what happened with the time machine, and Brer is one of them, with restrictions. Gita also forgot to give something to Brer, which was found by a researcher a long time ago. She has a suspicion that it has something to do with Area 0. That item is the Indigo Disc. Then we meet up with Brer and the others to head in to Area 0. We're finally back. We explained that we actually came down here with our best buds that we haven't seen in a year. Brer explains that there might be something even deeper than the Zero Lab. The writer who made this claim, however, was unable to remember anything about what happened down there. We made our way down to the Zero Lab, where we found that it's closed? That's weird. We obviously need to disable the lock. However, considering it's been a year since the panel was last used, we were unable to open it as it automatically became locked. Now, the first time we were here, we opened up the 4 locks before coming down here. However, before we leave, the panel detects the Indigo disc. We insert the disc into the panel, which opens the gate with greater privileges. We noticed the elevator and decided to go inside. Instead of taking us to the big terrestrializing room, it took us down to the Area 0 underdepths. Terrestrial energy was at an all-time high in the undergrounds. Taro's old writings are here that explain the stellar type, which seem to be exclusive to terrestrializing. We encounter a stellar type form of a glimora. Here's a good definition on screen that explains stellar. We defeat the Glimora, opening up the way. We also do the same with Noivern, Iron Thors, Garchomp, and Garganackle. It was basically the same thing over and over again. Kieran and Brer also both run into the next room, which seems to be the lowest point of Area 0. There's a smaller gem attached to one of the crystals, that according to Brer seems to be the treasure of Area 0. But again, Kieran's madness gives him. He believes with the treasure that he can beat me for good. He calls back to Ogerpon, how it chose me over him even though he loved it his whole life. The fact that Karamin and I held a secret from him for so long, and the fact that he's worked so hard only to lose in the end when it mattered the most. The crystal came undone, revealing the Pokemon, Terapagos. It looked at me and began to crawl towards me. Kieran, since the very beginning, has lost every single time we battled. This was his final chance. Terapagos transforms into its new form. However, it's still no match for me. I take it down. Brer, completely oblivious to what's going on, informs Kieran that Terapagos needs to be terrestrialized, so Kieran obliges. But what happens was not what he expected. The Pokemon went rogue, nearly killing Kieran. The energy was so strong, it broke the Master Ball. We'd have to weaken it in order to catch it. Karamin and I get on the battlefield while Kieran finally starts to see past his insanity, but he's refusing to help. Terapagos sets up a shield around itself, meaning the only way to damage it is through terrestrialization. I terrestrialize Salad and break the first shield, but Terapagos absorbs our terrestrial energy, meaning we downgrade for another 2 turns. Kieran still can't see that he's needed, so we have to handle this phase all by ourselves. The first round of terrestrialization failed as the Pokemon died, but the next time I terrestrialized Dragonite and finished the second shield off. However, it absorbs all my energy again, making another shield. Finally, we encourage Kieran to get in on the fight, breaking him free from his insanity. We both put everything we had into the final shield, and eventually it broke, meaning we could attack. We finished the battle and caught it, stopping Terapagos. Brer also finally breaks free of her ambition, realizing she let us all down here, and apologizes. And Kieran finally lets go of everything and cries alongside Karamin. But now, we finally head back to Blueberry Academy. Kieran promises to make amends and wants to be friends again. And we all walk back to the school together, better friends than we ever were before. Thanks so much for watching. I want to shout out the VODs channel again. I'll be uploading my full playthrough there along with the teal mask. And if you're wondering, I will be releasing a video covering the epilogue that's soon to come out. But anyway, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.